Hello and welcome to 101.9 KHBHS. Tonight we have many interesting stories to cover. We will be reflecting on the past 20 years of our nation's history on this New Year's Eve of 1939. Stay tuned for many interesting stories and more. With your hosts, Dustin Abbott,
Matt Davis,
Jonna Rimeriez,
and Mackenzie Wilkings.
First, we have Jonna with us, who is going to give us a quiz on movies from the roaring 20s and depressing 30s.
In this round of Name That Movie, our guest will have to name the movie based on the year it was made and the actors that were in it. First one, it was made in 1921, and the actors that were in it are Lillian Gish and Dorothy Gish.
Well, I don't know, Jonna. It's quite a difficult one. I haven't been going out and seeing any movies lately. Well, I want to say Orphans of the Storm in 1921?
Yes, Orphans of the Storm is correct.
I knew it.
Here's a few that I know will be just right with Mackenzie. Now, Mackenzie, this film was created in 1937, and it starred Adriana Caselotti and Lucille LeVerne.
I think I know that one. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
We have a winner. We have Matt here to answer a few of our trivia questions. Now, Matt, let's get you started. This one came out in 1931, starring Boris Karloff, Colin Clive, and Frederick Kerr.
Oh, that's an easy one. It's Frankenstein.
Frankenstein is right. And there we have it for Name That Movie.
And now a word from our sponsor, Pepsi Cola.
Nickel.
Nickel.
Ba-doo-dee-da-da.
Nickel.
Nickel.
Ba-doo-dee-da-da-da-da.
Pepsi Cola hits the spot. 12 full ounces, that's a lot. Twice as much for a nickel too. Pepsi Cola is the drink for you. Nickel, 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 nickel.
Trickle, 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 trickle.
Nickel, 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 nickel. Ya-da-da-da.
Here's Matt with his news piece on the Prohibition.
Prohibition, the legal act upon prohibiting and manufacturing alcohol, started on January 16, 1919 to December 5, 1933. Those years consisted of speakeasies, which are underground secret nightclubs. They had illegal liquor, swing dancing, and flapper girls. People started to make moonshine at their own home, which killed many. But in this new year of 1939, we are able to drink like pirates. So drink up and have a wonderful new year.
Now we have Jonna to talk about one of the biggest controversial cases of the 1920s.
The Sacco and Vanzetti case. On April 15, 1920, the Slater and Morrill Shoe Company of Massachusetts was robbed, with 2 employees killed in the process. 2 immigrants, Mr. Sacco and Mr. Vanzetti, were allegedly accused of committing this crime. The only form of evidence held against the 2 defendants was the coincidental similarity in the gun used during the shooting and a gun that Mr. Sacco owned. The discovery that both men were also anarchists played a major role in the trial as well. Sacco and Vanzetti were found guilty, resulting to their execution. The question of whether Sacco and Vanzetti were really guilty still remains unanswered today.
Here's another advertisement on the Ford Model T. Today I heard a merchant saying that his new Model T was saving him money. Who knew? First I heard him say that by horse it costs 11 cents per delivery, but with his new Model T it only costs 7 cents. It's amazing. What he told me next blew me away. He said the car basically pays for itself. Between the time it saves him and how inexpensive it is to drive around, he has already earned back what it costs to buy the car. If you're looking to buy a Ford Model T for as little as $265, look for a Ford car dealership near you. Following that, here's Mackenzie's piece on the stock market crash.
Everyone remembers the great crash of 1929. That devastating day, Monday, October 21st, the stock market crashed. The bull market lasted only as long as investors continued putting new money into it. But the latter half of 1929, the market was running out of new customers. In September, professional investors sensed danger and began to sell off their holdings. Prices slipped. Other investors sold shares to pay the interest on their brokerage loans. Prices fell further. October 24th, a day came to be called Black Thursday. The market pummeled further. The following week, on October 29th, a day later dubbed Black Tuesday, prices took the steepest dive yet.
Now here's my piece on Franklin Delano Roosevelt's Fireside Chat number 11 on the unemployment census. On November 14, 1937, Franklin D. Roosevelt delivered his 11th fireside chat directly to the people of the United States. President Roosevelt was addressing the issue of the unemployment census. He believed there was a long-term fix to the unemployment issue and that in a nation of such wealth and opportunity that there should not be so many people without jobs. We as a nation had expedited billions of dollars for relief and publicly created work, but this was not a permanent fix. President Roosevelt thought that facts were the key and cooperative effort and planning would rid our nation of peaks and valleys in the work industry. This new unemployment census was going to help find the facts, as long as it was completed accurately and honestly. The census was delivered to every home on November 16, 1937. The 14 questions were not an application for relief or anything of the sort, but for fact. The census was intended for those unemployed or partially unemployed. President Roosevelt was very firm in his statement that it is very important for the census to be filled out quickly and accurately. He also wanted to make it clear that this would not be used against them but to help them. President Roosevelt concludes his speech saying that this will help the nation as a whole. This was President Roosevelt's first step to reconstruct unemployment. Unfortunately, President Roosevelt's efforts were proven unsuccessful. Last, we have our closing piece with Matt on the Martian attack broadcast in 1989.
During Halloween of last year, we were a part of CBS, but due to some complications, we are now independent. During that time last year, Orson Welles was reading War of the Worlds for a Halloween series. The first 2/3 of the broadcast were aired as simulated news broadcasts, so people listening in late thought it was a real broadcast about Martians invading Earth. The unfortunate fact that the broadcast had no commercials contributed to the panic. In the days following, panic and outrage flooded the streets. We would like to sincerely apologize for this incident.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you and good night.